Oops. Hello, this is a test. And we'll say hi, Marius, and I'll share the screen with the agenda, hopefully, and then make you the host, and you can share that other thing. And so this is the agenda, and normally we would approve the agenda as presented.
I'm curious. Other neighborhood councils don't do the agenda approval thing, but I guess UNNC.
They don't. I mean, I don't. I have no idea how other neighborhood councils do it. I will say that I never used to do it at planning and zoning, and I was told I was doing it wrong from UNNC. so now I do approve the agenda. But in any case, here's the agenda. I don't care. There's no item on the agenda saying approve the agenda, but that's what we normally do. I think that's probably a Robert's rule thing. But I'm taking it down because we're going to remember what it says, which would be we're going to have round robin introductions, then any public comments, then committee minutes, then the rest. So I'm going to unshare. And Dan, I'm going to make you the co-host. And Ana Lopez is here now too. So I'm definitely making co-host so that I'm not the only person watching the. Elizabeth, do you know how to watch the waiting room and let people in?
Yeah, and that you would choose to do that instead of disabling the waiting room?
I can't.
Like to know?
No, we keep the waiting room. Yeah.
Okay. So sure, I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, so I've made both Elizabeth and Dan the co-hosts as you are the co-chairs.
Where is the waiting room?
Well, there's nobody in it right now, but it would show up if you click on the word participants at the bottom of your screen and bring up the names of the people who are here. So you'll see right now 5 names, right? If there's somebody who arrives, the waiting room lands above the word participants. Okay. Also, if you're co-host, you'll probably now start getting notices that somebody's in the waiting room. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, so are you ceding control of the meeting now?
You're the chairs, you and Elizabeth.
Okay.
I'm not leaving, but I'm ceding. Is that the question? Yes, I'm gonna have my coffee.
Yes. All right, well, welcome everybody. It's nice to see a couple of new faces here. This is our, I think, 3rd meeting in the new order of things. I'm Dan Kegel. I live at Harvard in Washington, and I'm, if I gather correctly, I'm co-host or co-chair with Elizabeth. I'm an engineer and I have a science background, and I'm a climate activist. And I have 40 gallons of water jugs in my trunk or in my back of my car so I can water the new plants at LaSalle in Washington.
Nice.
So Elizabeth, why don't you introduce yourself?
I don't know Ana Lopez, but everybody else knows me. And so co-chair climate, I just got one set of solar panels today, and they couldn't finish because my roof is so steep. So they're coming back at some point, but I get half a set. They turned it on.
Aww.
And I cede the rest of my time for Marius Deli. Marius, I want you to take extra time. Tell us, I haven't seen you in, I think, a lot. It feels like 2 years.
Yeah, it has. It's been a while. Yes, I'm Marius Deli. I used to be on the UNNC board, and I live in Jefferson Park. And I am also interested in climate and environmental matters. So yes.
Okay, and I'm Laura Myers, and I'm the president of United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council. Marius, did you know that?
Yes.
I got elevated.
You did? You did? I walked in there once. There she was at the front.
Quite by accident. And then But in any case, I'm the Zoom host of all of our meetings. I have the UNNC license, so I'm attending many committee meetings that I would not have otherwise. So, and then Anna. So we're trying to get Anna. You can unmute if you would like and introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, how are you guys? Sorry,
Hi.
I thought there was going to be a lot of people, so we're actually in our PJs, but we're really excited to be here. My name is Anna, and I'm with my husband, Chris, and we just moved to Jefferson Park, and we want to see how we can help out the community. Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Dan, I'm going to step in one more time a little bit. So, since Anna's new, UNNC has a lot of opportunities in standing committees. And the one thing that we do differently than most other neighborhood councils is that we only appoint our chairs and co-chairs of committees and then open up the membership of the committees to any and every UNNC stakeholder. And essentially the rule is anyone who's at a committee meeting and is participating is a member of the committee, whatever committee it is, for the duration of that meeting. They may make motions, they can vote, they certainly can weigh in. And we only ever make recommendations to the elected governing board. So that's why it's so participatory. Next time, don't wear your pajamas.
Or we all will wear our pajamas.
Well, we could do a pajama party online on Zoom one day. Yes.
We will never wear pajamas again. Thank you.
No.
Okay. Does that go in the minutes? No more pajamas?
No, everybody wears pajamas.
No. I mean, maybe we should, we could all wear pajamas. Just wear pajamas you're comfortable showing off.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so welcome everybody. Are there any public comments or announcements people would like to make? Hearing none, let's move on to committee minutes. I think, Laura, the thing we should do is probably agree that unless I get the minutes 2 weeks in advance to you, the draft minutes for the packet, that we should cancel the meeting. And that way.
Wait. I can't you you have to make a cancellation agenda. It's easier just to do the minutes. I only need the minutes in the packet or anything else day before or morning of.
Right. Yes, I understand how it would work with a reasonable person, but I need somebody with a hammer standing over my head. So.
Oh, so Dan, you're doing the minutes? You're writing the minutes?
And I will try to get them out the day after each meeting, the draft minutes.
Okay. All right. So just so you know, our Dunn rep told us the other night, I don't know if her interpretation is accurate, but technically, as long as we're recording these meetings, which we are, nobody's going to require us to have minutes. So it's part of a protocol that each committee can decide. Because de facto, we have no transcripts, but we have audio and video recordings.
Are those available online?
No.
That's
and we
kind
have
of an issue.
Librada Hernandez. Can I admit?
Hey, we have a new attendee.
And I want to know, are we going an hour?
We're going to try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Librada.
No, we're not going to try. We're going to make it an hour. Let's make it happen, because people's time is valuable, and I want to make sure that they come back and that they know that we're going to be quick and dirty.
I see. I thought you were saying that we should stretch it to be an hour.
Oh, no. Right. An hour and I don't see Librada. Oh, there. Yay.
So Librada, would you like to introduce yourself? Hi.
Hi. I don't know. I'm
Uh-oh.
Frozen.
Well, welcome.
Hernandez and Square. Well, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Librada Hernandez, and I'm from Wellington Square.
And I know you, right?
Yes, we know you, Laura. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
From the farmer's market.
From the farmer's market. Yeah, we have that wonderful farmer's markets on Sundays. Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank
So
you.
I'm a co-chair, Dan Kegel, and Elizabeth is the other co-chair. And we're
Okay. Hi, Elizabeth. And hi, Dan.
very excited
I
to have
see
you here.
Marius as well and Ana Lopez around there. Yeah. Mhm.
So about the minutes, I think I don't have them ready, as you noted, Laura. So we will have all 3 sets of minutes ready for approval next month.
Okay.
And I'll have them to you well in advance of the posting deadline.
Right. So, and in answer to your question, we're not recording to the cloud, we're recording to the computer. So, and that is because we have so many meetings, I don't know that we have enough room in the cloud. But the recordings are so large that we haven't figured out yet how to post them anywhere. I mean, they're like sometimes 30 megabytes.
Yes.
It seems like we could have a YouTube a channel, a private
But
YouTube.
you need a high-speed internet connection to do the upload. I mean, we just haven't figured it out. It seems to be less important than other things we haven't yet figured out, if I'm saying that right.
You're probably right. I have a 100 megabit upload.
Also, yeah, but don't tell me that because I might hand you 10 meetings a month, to upload somewhere. Just kidding.
Why don't we try uploading 1 and see how it goes?
Right. I'll have to find a place to upload it to.
We could take a USB stick and just toss it at my porch.
No, that's not what I mean. That's what I've been having to do for governing board meetings, just 4 minutes, or when we have a public records request, we just put it on a stick. And we're digressing from your agenda. But my point is, we don't have a place on our website to upload to. Yeah, and I think once we have that, I could probably give the stick to our webmaster and she can just upload.
There is YouTube.
Or YouTube. Okay, moving on. Sorry.
I'd like to show the agenda for everyone to see all the time.
Again.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, just leave it up there.
I have it in front
Leave it
of
up there.
me.
We can only share one thing at a time. There's the agenda, but it'll have to go down when we start talking about the trees since there's other things to show.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like you've moved on quickly to the number 5.
Yeah, hang on 1 second. I'm taking minutes as we go. All right, so on to number 5, I think.
Correct.
So, Laura, is it the case that the governing board has a coffee hour or something before meetings?
Sometimes. What I like to do is have a 30-minute presentation, or, well, it depends. I mean, sometimes it's just a reception and sometimes it's a presentation, but it's pre the meeting so that we don't have, it helps us get quorum.
Yes.
Without having quorum. So we have, yeah. So is that when you would like to do a presentation? What is?
Yes, I think NCSA would like one of those time slots so that we can do a presentation about how to get an electric car cheap, and another one about the city's move to clean electricity. And so these are both things that would fit together in one of these sessions.
So what does that mean, get clean electricity?
Well, LADWP currently burns fossil fuel for most of its electricity, and the city is studying how to not do that. And so they did the study results are coming in now, and I've been attending the advisory group for the study for the last 3 years. And they ask people like me who attend the advisory group to carry the information to their neighborhoods. And so I'd like to try to do that.
So my question would be, so what we like to do in those 30-minute, which are really 20 minutes, right? and it includes Q&A, so it's got to be very focused. It's
Yeah.
got to be a popular topic.
Yeah.
Because to make sure people come, and it wouldn't normally be 2 topics at the same time, right? It needs to be focused.
Well,
But
these are
the
very
question
related.
would be how long because why wouldn't you have the presentation, but we just plan it well in advance and publicize it at this committee on not the cars. I think the cars is a really good idea for a broader meeting, but on this it's like an energy policy thing, right?
Well, yes and no. It's about your electric fucking bill, and that is a broad topic.
Okay, and we're being recorded.
Is this number 5 or is
Yeah,
this a diversion from that?
No, it's number 5.
Okay.
I think that if we phrase it as what's going to happen to my electric bill as the city, blah, 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 that might get interest.
Right. I'm just saying I wouldn't want to do electric vehicle incentives and that in the same presentation. Because I have pressure from my executive board members to have focused presentations so that when 7 o'clock rolls around, we are good to start sharply at 7 o'clock. So it needs to be popular enough that probably, all the board members will have shown up because they want to hear it. And short enough so that it doesn't delay the meeting.
Yes. All right. So let's make this next one just about electric cars.
I can do that.
And I will talk with you.
Can I tell you, I can do it tentatively unless by some miracle Mark Ridley Thomas agrees to come and talk, in which case that'll be I was hoping last month, but I'm hoping this coming month. Okay. I
see.
You will lose in the popularity contest to Mark if he agrees.
That's understood.
Okay, but otherwise, yes, let's do that.
Great, and then we can be bumped. I think I'm going to suggest a similar meeting in the future about the energy bill topic.
Sure.
I'm happy to do a meeting of the environmental committee about it first.
Okay.
All right, so moving on. Street tree maintenance program.
Yeah.
So
I think you have an update. I have an update as well.
Could we, does everybody, I think maybe we need to introduce the concept right to our visitors.
I think we should introduce the concept to our visitors. What do you think, Laura?
I think you have a presentation I downloaded. Just tell me when to share it.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
So Elizabeth, you want to give the intro or what?
Sure. So in the last iteration of the board, there was an idea to put street trees and water them up all along Jefferson. I think it was sort of a statement, a street tree thing. Even before that, it was taken, well, even before that, and that was taken up by Helen Chowdhury. Maria Stelly and I biked up and down Jefferson looking at tree wells, right? And talking to people and making lists and making maps. We had this idea that yes, up and down Jefferson, something was going to happen. In the last 2 years, Helen Chowdhury took it on and took it to the next step. And she took it to Laura Myers and UNNC and got funding. They got, I think, 2 types of funding. This is where I get a little bit lost. Yeah. But then Helen Chowdhury
I was going to say,
burnt out.
Yeah, let's Elizabeth, what she did, UNNC agreed to match funds. They were applying to Lonnie for a grant. So we voted in basically $4,000 and they applied to the Lonnie, which is Los Angeles Neighborhood Initiative, for a matching grant of $4,000. They were granted $2,500 in November of 2019 for maintenance and watering of 25 trees on Jefferson Boulevard, a project that was to be completed in January and February of 2020. So 1 year ago. Now go. That's
Okay. So Helen burned up like a comet in this process. I mean, it just burned her out. And she had the project up to a certain point and then just said, I'm done. And I think that's when Laura Myers called Dan and I.
Nope, there's an interim step. She burnt out, didn't do it. And in May, we had this $4,000 of allocation on our budget, and UNNC had to decide whether we would spend it on something else or encumber it, because it was first year and probably only year we could, so that we could spend it in the next fiscal year. Because of COVID, a lot of neighborhood councils throughout the city had been unable to spend their entire budgets because much of the monies were budgeted for events that could not happen because of the stay-at-home orders. And we had that problem as well. But for this project, it just hadn't happened. And I talked to Lonnie, again, the organization Los Angeles Neighborhood Initiative, and asked two questions. One, if we defer it, will they defer it? Because, you know, their fiscal year was also coming to an end. And two, one of the problems was, as it turned out, the third partner, which is KYCC, the nonprofit entity which would be doing the watering and maintenance, basically informed Helen and her team that there were not actually 25 trees on Jefferson Boulevard.
Tree wells, yeah.
That they, no, trees, actual trees. There were not,
Okay.
they started out as living trees. Were not 25 trees that they're willing to spend even one drop of water because they were dead or dying. And that in fact, there were only 8 trees. So what UNNC wanted to know from Lonnie was if we redefine the project to be 25 young trees for watering and maintenance on our commercial corridors, focusing on Jefferson Boulevard, but we knew there were only 8, trees that KYCC identified, and expanding beyond that to our other commercial corridors. Would that be okay? And Lonnie said, yes, we're flexible. So we voted to encumber the money. There's a very specific thing with a specific application to the city clerk and the city controller, and the money must be spent on that project, and it must be spent, and Lizzie's coming, has to be spent this no later than June 1. We do not have a choice. So, so bringing us further up to date, the neighborhood council assigned it to this committee, and that's where we are now. But the simple thing is that the June 1 deadline is real. The money has to be spent. It can simply be spent by us essentially making a donation to KYCC, but that seems irresponsible. We really should have a real project, not just a donation to them. And as well, I did not speak to the actual person at Lonnie, but spoke to a colleague at Lonnie who I also work with on something else. And if the money was ever there, it's still there. That's contrary to the message that Lizzie, who's now with us, got from Helen, and contrary to what Helen, may have told you, that they could not have spent it on something else. That if it was in fact granted for this, then it's there. And but they don't have money this year. And
so can I just quick go back in? So my understanding is now at this point, we have the funding for trees and watering and maintenance for 25 trees. And that Dan and I and Gregory, another volunteer, understood that we needed to find, whatever it was, tree wells that trees could be planted in. Correct. So that's what we did. And we focused on Jefferson, and we found more than 25.
Right. So when should I start showing? I've got the screen shared. Should I
I'd
start?
like to have Lizzie say hello. And
Hi, Elizabeth.
hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hi.
Lizzie.
Are you in your pajamas too?
Yes. No, actually, I just taught for I don't know how many hours. I wasn't planning on joining because I usually teach until 8:30, but I had one missed appointment, so I
So
couldn't.
glad to hear your voice
Yes,
and see this darling picture.
likewise.
Okay. So you, Elizabeth, just tell me when to move the screen along.
Okay, great. So Dan and I worked on this presentation. We went around and took pictures, identified addresses where these tree wells are. So most of them are on Jefferson, some are on Western, and a couple I think are even on Crenshaw. So right, this is where they start. They first start Jefferson going west, east to west, Western to Crenshaw, and then Washington Boulevard, and then Adams near Crenshaw, and then Crenshaw.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and do the next one.
Okay. So are you guys seeing an orange box, or are you
Yeah.
just, I don't like the orange box.
Yeah.
It says, move the window away from the shared application. It's like, I don't know how.
It seems to disagree, but that's okay.
It's
Oh,
okay.
there. Now it's.
There it goes.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever.
So Marius will know this particular destination, which is Holy Name of Jesus Church, and it was a little poignant because these two that were here that I took a picture of have tiny little trees in them.
Hmm.
So I don't know if somebody in the neighborhood planted some little trees, but if they would be willing to relocate them, I think we could get KYCC to put some bigger trees in, and then the trees would match other trees in the area. And you see on the left, the text says 4 wells. Right in front of Holy Name of Jesus Church are 4 wells available. And Marius, I was going to call you to see if who the person to talk to, or whether you could talk to the church about having KYCC put in some new trees.
Well,
I'll have to figure it out. Yeah, and see. I don't think the church is gonna have a problem, but this is a public sidewalk basically. But yeah,
Okay.
as long as they're not too, large and impact the
Well,
view from area.
I think when
KYCC
we're
won't
seeing
plant.
the wells,
Yeah.
they're already approved. Is that correct, Elizabeth?
I don't know which. I've not been in touch with KYCC, so I don't know which ones are approved.
No. I mean, in general terms, if you spot a well,
Tree
in
well.
a tree well that's been cut by the city in concrete, it's an approved location, whether or not it has a tree, I think.
Pretty much. Yep. Pretty much.
I'm going to the next slide.
Next one. Yeah, we're just going to go quickly. Then another one on Jefferson. Again, I thought I had a business related to it. And Cup 2 on Jefferson. This is in front of 2 small businesses. Shouldn't be a problem getting those. Moving on. Another in front of that place at, I think it's Arlington and Jefferson. Is that right?
That is Arlington and Jefferson.
Yeah, one big one. I don't know if it would be very difficult to get them to plant a tree there, because I'm not sure if they would want anything to impede the view of their sign.
Got it.
Again, Jefferson. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I've moved it to 2505. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, sure. You could just see that each one,
Yeah.
has something available. One tree well in business 25 years. Okay, so around 6th Avenue Elementary School, and I talked to Laura about, can they be in front of schools? Can they be in front of churches? And Laura told me that it just had to be a commercial strip.
Right.
And I think so, Jefferson along there. And the thing is, on Jefferson from 6th Avenue Elementary School, there are 4 wells, but they go around the corner.
Okay, I have a question. So the picture of that tree, is that a dead tree that we're looking at?
I don't think so. I don't think so, actually. I don't think that's a dead one. But you can see that there are 2 openings right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and we're over 25 when we keep
Oh,
going.
that's okay. I mean, we end up now having 2 projects. One is identifying all the places in UNNC that need a tree. And the other is identifying which places for this project.
Right.
We have
Exactly.
other
And that's why,
money.
why KYCC will be helpful. Right. So one tree well, right where the shadow is. Perfect place for a tree. Another wonderful place for a tree, right outside of school, on the sunny side of the street. There are 3 to 4 tree wells available right in front of that little school.
Okay.
On Jefferson, right? And this is on Crenshaw, you know, the corner of Crenshaw and Jefferson. There are 2 wells. Again, 99-cent store is not going to necessarily want
Well,
trees,
you know, I'm going to
but-
need to look at the approved. That I think this is mandatory that they put those trees back because they have this was a
They-
development project that had a lot of entitlements, and
Okay.
one of the requirements was trees. So what
Great.
is the, but those are 2 on Crenshaw. What about the ones on Jefferson? Do they still exist? If you noticed?
I think I would have
on
taken a
this
picture of them.
particular development.
I think I would have taken a picture. No, they have more plantings closer, not in the sidewalk, but closer to their building. And it
Mhm.
looks pretty good. It looks good.
Right. So I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be alive and actual trees, if I'm saying that right.
Okay, well, great. We don't have to use them for our project then, if they can do
Right.
that.
Well,
Moving on.
yes.
Moving. Okay. I think we have more. Okay,
No
so
more
yeah,
for
on
Jefferson. You
Western.
have more, but no more on Jefferson. We moved to Western now.
Correct. Right. And this is going north to south, I think.
Yeah, this is Dan's portion of it, right?
Yep. Can you go forward? There we go.
Okay, so where is this? Where is this non-tree? Yeah, Dan, are you still with us?
Yeah, but this isn't my presentation, so I have to Google it.
Oh,
This was on 1714.
well, I mean, is this in front of actually the McDonald's or in front of the Winchells? That's I have a real specific question. What's it in front of? I can't tell. There's a reason I'm asking the question.
I think it's in front of the Winchells.
Okay, that's too bad. All right.
Now this is right. This is on the east side of the street, but it's north of the 10, so we get both sides of Western,
Right.
north
This
of the
is
10.
in front of Food for Less.
Mm-hmm.
And there are several nicely grown trees right in front of the Food for Less. So this
Right.
one asks for something.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know why that's there.
I don't know either. Okay. And then, okay, so this is
South of the freeway, but
west.
on the west side of the street.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that's the last on this. Dan, you also have, you had the other thing. Did you want to share that screen if I stop sharing this?
I could try.
Wait, if you can, I can grab it because I did link to it.
So as you can see, I think we've got quite a few tree wells. We're set to go. I think the next phase is to just get the okay from KYCC, because apparently they were the roadblock, or not the roadblock, but you know, that
They
was a
were
little bit of a hiccup before. Is that was it not them, or was it the approval
well,
of the landowners?
Okay, no, nothing to do with the landowners, because the original project was looking at existing trees, maintaining and watering existing trees, and then they said there's only 8. I don't have the list of locations where the existing 8 trees are, because, you know, for all the reasons we've been discussing, we don't have any paperwork from Helen.
Right.
The other thing I learned from, again, my colleague in a different world, but who works at Lonnie, is that we have every right to the paperwork that Lonnie has, and that I need to just do a written request to Lonnie for this project.
Okay.
So but I don't think it's going to have the list of 8 trees, because that came up after the grant was awarded. So so we do need to circle back. So what I have been pursuing is looking at, I mean, there's far more empty tree wells than there are trees at this point, especially on Crenshaw. So I've started and then also in Washington, I've started talking to a few of the more major property owners about if we also got some trees planted in these other spaces, would they personally handle watering and maintenance, but would they also donate monies, give monies to KYCC so that KYCC is handling the watering and the maintenance, right? So, not
How much
making
would you ask?
Well, I'd ask a different amount from CIM than from surface, because CIM controls more land. But what I'm really trying to get, I'm talking to a guy named Oliver who works for CIM. What I want him to understand is I don't want to wait till their projects are built. I want these trees to go in like now, and I'd like them to sort of adopt a little to the north and a little to the south, or a little to the east, or beyond their own exact boundaries.
I'm concerned.
Have the money.
I'm concerned. Let's get this job done. We have our mandate is this project, and I'm concerned that if we start trying to add more to it, then it bogs.
Well, it's not this project. I'm trying to get a whole package together for our community. This project is already kind of bogged because of the dynamics that are going on.
So what my understanding is, the next thing we do is get in touch with KYCC. Dan.
I walked Washington today and found a bunch of locations.
Good.
And Gregory walked every street in UNNC and made a map of the locations.
Okay.
I'd like to share with you for a moment.
Yeah. And that's why I was asking, can you do it or do I need to do it?
I'm doing it right now.
Perfect.
I was just trying to get a word in edgewise. So let's see. Can you see it?
Yes.
Can I zoom it? That one's harder. I don't see a zoom button.
I think you need to zoom it in on your computer, not on the Zoom screen. In other words, where the three dots are up in your right-hand corner, I'm pointing, but up in the right-hand corner of your own computer, right.
There it is.
There we are.
Yeah. Whoop.
So he's located a lot of possible spots, and we might not have them all. So Elizabeth, you have this in your inbox right now. And how do you want to proceed? Do you want to copy this stuff into your presentation?
I think we should bring Gregory on board because he did some great work and he can own it himself.
How do we want to collect the information? Are we going to have a spreadsheet? Are we going to have a presentation? How would you like to do it? It's your project.
Well, it's just interesting because Gregory wasn't in touch with me for any of this. This is news to me. Was he in touch with you?
About Gregory, we have locations. How do you want to collect the information? As a spreadsheet, as a presentation, as a map? What's your preference?
Are you handing me this? Okay, so fine, I'll take this. This is way more than 25. What my thought is that I could take my presentation, which has addresses and photos, bring this, put this as a slide on it, and with all the list of things there, and bring them to KYCC and get their approval for this, because it seems to me that they're the ones that say this one's too close to a driveway and this one's too close to a street light. And this is the one we won't plant in. So there's the one that gives it an up or down.
Okay, so Elizabeth, let me ask
I
you.
understood too.
Lisa, I'm sorry, Lizzie.
Yes, that's what I understood too. I am not up to date on every single detail of the project as of today. But I do have a question as far as which trees are going to be planted. I got a lot of feedback on the Brisbane box as probably the optimal tree, at least for Jefferson Boulevard. I don't know if you had already ideas on, and I think KYCC also has a limited inventory of trees.
Really?
That they wouldn't, because I think Brisbane box was always at the top because there are some on intersections by the Japanese American Credit Union on 11th Avenue, I believe. There are 4, and they are thriving, tall, and they're drought tolerant. But apparently KYCC was not. They didn't have them. So that was one of the roadblocks, as I
Okay.
understood.
So I'm sorry, and what tree is that? I'm kind of missing it.
Brisbane box. It's an Australian native and very drought tolerant, non-invasive. It's really ideal. And
Okay.
it grows tall and quickly, and
And
I think it's a clean tree. Yeah.
We love the tree.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Good.
So Marius and Elizabeth, I kind of want your input on this. Had you guys talked about, you had a previous project with trees. Had you talked about which trees are doable in UNNC? I thought there was a couple of years back.
Yeah, Marius.
Yes, I initially was advocating for California native trees. There was some issues concerning that these trees would not match the rest of the trees in the various other neighborhoods. The trees I advocated for could be either shrubs pruned as trees or actual trees. I did specify that Thousand Oaks does plant Coast Live Oak, which is a native California tree designed to last upwards of over 100 years. It is a bit of a slow grower, but once it does, it fills out and it actually feeds all types of wildlife and actually supports hundreds of native insects and what have you, including the majestic swallowtail, which would be a fantastic butterfly to have in the neighborhood. But it all depends on what the funding is available, how much availability is, and what people want to agree on in terms of getting them there. I mean, I would love to see it, but if people want something different or want to match what's next to their neighbors, that's where we have to start kind of having those type of discussions.
So, and I have another question on these tree wells. I imagine you guys were working very fast. Do you have a sense of which ones may or may not have stumps in them from prior trees? Because I know that one of the KYCC issues is they do not have the ability to remove stumps.
When I walked the streets, I did not take any locations that had stumps. I don't know whether Gregory was as picky.
And I think we're moving right ahead. We just need to have conversations. We need to begin to have conversations with people just to see what are the availability of trees, what's our given choice, what do they suggest?
Well,
and so we need names.
Yeah, and here's my thought too. I'm hearing from you guys that KYCC has a limited inventory of kinds of trees. I don't think they necessarily have a limited inventory of trees, but of kinds. But if you needed, in a stretch of a commercial boulevard, if you needed 8 trees that aren't what's in their inventory, I don't see why we then can't go to UNNC and ask for the money to actually purchase those 8 trees.
And the other thing
still
too,
have KYCC plant them, water them, maintain them.
Right, absolutely. I planted upwards of 80 trees at my kids' elementary when I lived in the San Fernando Valley with Tree People. It was a Tree People organization.
Right.
And I drove to something like Compton and went to a tree lot, and they had hundreds and hundreds of trees. And I was that kind of person that I went through all the fruitless mulberries and said, I want that one, and I want that one, and I want that one. So I know there's somewhere in Los Angeles is a big tree lot, and Marius, if you'd be willing, we could go and try to find our Coast Live Oaks.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't want you guys to put limits on yourself. I mean, there's a limit. We have $4,000 of UNNC money that has to be spent by June 1st. And that's the money that would be going to KYCC. It's very specific. We may or may not have the additional $2,500 from Lonnie that also goes to KYCC for the watering and maintenance, right? UNSC has other monies it hasn't yet spent. We have a huge map with lots of locations. This one little project's just the seeding, as it were, of a larger project. And don't let it limit us, because UNNC planted 100 trees on Washington Boulevard between Normandy and Crenshaw in our earlier years. And what you're seeing now with all those empty tree wells is those trees are not alive.
Drought.
Because whatever killed them, those were the trees we planted. If you see tree wells, if you see carved out of the sidewalk tree wells, we partnered with the city. The biggest part of the project was making those tree wells. They weren't there previously. So we need to get the trees back in there, but we made a huge impact when we could say we planted 100 trees, right? That's a thing to say, but it looks like at least half of them are dead, unfortunately.
Do we need to vote on something tonight? Number 7?
Perhaps.
It says
Elizabeth,
vote on bridge funding.
The question would be, are we in a place yet where we want to go next Tuesday to executive committee and ask for additional funds, or do you want to defer that another month?
Dan?
We seem to have enough possible locations. I don't think that we've organized it effectively yet, but it seems like a good bet that we'll have enough places to spend the money.
So do we want to have at least a preliminary budget item that might get rejected until we can be better organized and
Yes,
throw it onto the executive committee agenda for Tuesday?
Yes.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. So how much money do you want to ask for? And that would be what you vote on tonight. What's the request? A dollar amount of request.
Well, 25 trees times, how much does it cost per tree for KYCC to do something?
Okay, well, the 1 year of watering and maintenance for 25 trees, if we had 25 trees, the first funding round was $6,600 total, basically. So they were $100 short, meaning between the Lonnie grant and the UNNC money, we're still $100 short. So if 1 year is $6,600 for 25, do you want to make it, do you want to have a second request for X? And I don't know what X is. I don't know that UNNC is going to want to throw $6,600 more at trees at this moment. So, in other words, I don't know quite what to say. Lizzie, what's your thoughts? I mean, how many more trees should we be asking for?
No idea. I mean,
it's just a balancing act, right?
I mean, I would be at peace with 25, but now that it's the whole, all over the UNNC footprint, then that obviously changes.
Laura, I'm having trouble understanding what you're saying.
Okay. We don't need to ask for money we already have, which is $4,000. We've got it. We must spend it. Period. We have to do that. I am saying that at the moment, UNNC has more money that it hasn't spent, hasn't allocated. And we could ask for some of it to make not this project bigger, not this one, but a second project, which would be like the first project, only a new project. But I don't think they're going to give us $6,600.
Laura, our heads are kind of exploding now just trying to get that $4,000 spent properly.
Yes, but next year our budget might be slashed in half. So if we want to have money, this would be the year to ask for it.
And when do we have to ask for it by?
Have to spend it by June 1st.
I'm sorry.
Must spend it by June 1st. So we'd have to
That's the
ask for it.
$4,000 that we have to spend
No,
by
no,
June
all
1st.
money has to be spent by June 1st.
I see. So you're saying that since we have so many possible tree wells, you might want to ask for more money, and we have to do that before June 1st. So we're effectively expanding this project. Is that essentially the deal? That's okay. I'm just trying to figure it out.
If I think the latest we could ask for the money would be the March executive officers committee meeting, and at governing board April. So that'd be March 16 for an April 1st, April Fool's Day meeting, which may or may not have quorum because that's right before Good Friday and Easter Sunday. Anytime after that, it would be really hard to get money spent, right? So we don't have to go to executive in February and governing board for March.
If we decide to go to the next opportunity, the soonest opportunity, when do we have to make that decision? Tonight, right?
Well, it'd be a request. Yeah, the committee makes a request tonight for
And we have
X.
to have a dollar figure.
Yeah.
I think we have to put this off
Um,
at least 1 month.
Well, not necessarily.
I have to talk to Gregory about the viability of those tree wells.
Yes. Well, I think that I think that there are at least 10 on Washington.
Are we saying, pardon me, are we saying that we don't need landlord or resident approval anymore?
We probably do need it.
Right.
That's adding, oh my goodness.
Okay, so
That's going to be the hard part.
So let me try to explain. We don't have to plant the trees by June 1st. We have to be convinced that if we give money to KYCC for this project, that they'll really spend it for this project and
Right.
not just put it towards something else. So
Okay.
whatever this project is. So that's why we still have the $4,000. I wasn't willing to just pull out the UNNC credit card last June 1st or June 5th, whatever the deadline was last year, and give them the money online. I mean, that's how we pay for it, is just the credit card. And I wasn't willing to do it because I wasn't convinced that it would ever happen. So we have till June 1st. I'm using that. Obviously, they haven't yet given us an actual date. It could be June 1, it could be June 7, but at some point in early June, is the last time we can use the credit card.
So I have a couple of questions. Do we or do we not have the Lonnie money?
It depends who you ask. I have to get that in writing from them. And again, my colleague, who I have worked with on other things, who does work at Lonnie, but is not the person in charge of this project, right? I can't say much more. I don't want to end up identifying the person by accident. But the person I work with on other things said that the monies from a year ago's grant monies are designated for the things the grants were made for and could not have been spent on anything else, so that the money is there. And I know that Helen got a slightly different piece of information from the actual project manager, but I had spoken to the actual project manager in May before UNNC encumbered these funds, because we're at risk of losing the funds if we don't use, they're going to disappear. So I had spoken with at length the Lonnie project manager, and she confirmed that the money is there for this project and that there's flexibility if we couldn't find 25 on Jefferson itself.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I feel Lizzie might have some input or maybe not. What I kind of feel is happening is that we're getting just mixed messages and different people are hearing different things.
When
So
can you
I'm not
find out?
sure we have that $2,500.
When can you find out?
I'm trying. Oh, you mean when can I find out? If it's on the agenda for this Tuesday, I will find out before then because I think Greg Jackson will want to know, the treasurer, before he makes a recommendation to add even more money to this.
Okay, so
I
Elizabeth,
just don't know how you guys want to proceed.
Elizabeth, do we know how many candidates we have at this point? That's the problem with the current presentation. It's a little hard to count.
I thought we were just going for 25. I went for over 25 because I knew that KYCC would not necessarily approve all of them. I wanted to show them what we had and have them say, and I thought we were just working on 25. I'm very comfortable with a project that's just at this point 25 minus the 8 if we already have 8 that they want to add to.
Well,
we also have to get approval for the tree sites, and we have to get tree choices. We have to talk to them about tree choices. All that takes time. I think that I'm
Yes.
comfortable putting the more money and a bigger project on the agenda for the next meeting. But I need to chew on this first.
Yes.
So if we had to guess, how many viable candidates do you think we have at the moment?
Candidates for tree wells?
Yes.
30, 40.
And so that's 30 from your presentation. Is that right? What's the number from your presentation?
Oh, where did I put the total somewhere? I put that total somewhere. Let's see. I had my total, I think, was 18 from my presentation. But that was only, that was not that many on my presentation. There were additional ones up and down Western. There were additional ones.
Yours includes the ones up and down Western, does it not?
Yeah, maybe I'm looking at an old
Wait,
version.
well, here, what I'm seeing on this thing is that Gregory, who's not here, who created this, he's got the numbers.
Yeah, he seems to have numbers. I haven't had the chance to cross check.
Okay,
I don't know.
Here's what he's saying. On Jefferson Boulevard, empty tree wells, he's saying 25. Now, empty may not be without, stumpless,
And
right?
he also, I don't see the map now. I haven't gone to my
No,
email.
I'm on my own computer looking.
Is he also going north and south of the street, or is he just going on the north side?
Oh, I can't tell.
I haven't been in touch with Gregory, so I didn't know that he did this, and I wasn't.
He's on. The answer is he is on both sides of the street. There's even numbers and odd numbers on the addresses.
See, this is why I need to talk to KYCC.
Yeah.
I need to bring them some lists, and I need to also go up and down the street myself. So Lizzie, what?
Elizabeth, he just emailed this to me a half an hour before the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
but he's very, very, very organized. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. You've got 25 on Jefferson, 4 only on Western.
And I've got all kinds of affection. I've got all kinds of appreciation to shower upon Gregory. I just need more information.
I know, but
I need to know my next step is to get in touch with KYCC.
Yes, it is. But I'm telling you, he's got 13 plus 6 on Washington. So that's
Okay,
19.
no, I don't. It doesn't help us to count. Librata, I think you had a question a little while ago. Librata? Oh, maybe froze. It's 9 o'clock. Oh. I spent 5 or 6 hours on Zoom today already. So I need to get a battle plan.
I just had one quick question. What happens after the first year of watering?
Right.
Do we have to get more, $6,600 more?
Yeah.
Or it doesn't automatically
correct.
Right.
That's an important issue.
Yeah.
Because at the moment the city is so broke that it seems highly likely that the neighborhood council funds will be slashed. Conversely, it's also been voted by city council that they're going to start not giving identical amounts of money to each neighborhood council. They're going to also consider size of a neighborhood council and consider if it's impoverished or not. But it doesn't look like we have the low income census tracts where we are. So we may get some additional monies because of size, but I don't think we will get additional monies because of disadvantaged population.
Yeah, the other was just a recommendation, because if we are not going to have these trees re-watered for the second year, we might really look into native trees, even though that Brisbane box is very elegant and beautiful, but we might want to go the native way, because those trees are more adaptable to our weather and our lack of rain. So.
Yes, I think we should do native trees in general, if there's not any objection. Lizzie, I thought you were suggesting Brisbane boxes originally. I'm confused.
That's what I was told, that Brisbane box would be the optimal tree, because it is a drought tolerant tree. It's pretty low maintenance. And if you want to take a look at the ones that are on Jefferson, actually on 11th Avenue, but Jefferson and 11th Avenue, there are 4 of them that you can take a look at.
Lizzie, did you have someone that you worked with at KYCC? Do you have any connection to them?
No, Elizabeth, the project that I worked on was the 2 citywide contests for clean streets.
Okay.
So that was my part of the deal, to get the money.
Right.
So UNNC got the money, and then another colleague was going to take care of the logistics for the actual
Right.
trees, getting the additional grant and all that. So I honestly, I am not a tree person. I am very I have no knowledge, which is why I did not volunteer to take on this part of the project. So
right. And let me point out, Lizzie, so we don't get confused, still not stealing your money. Your money is safe. This project ended up being funded not from your grant, but from general funds. So Lizzie still has what, $4,500, but we're not stealing it yet. But in answer to a previous question, that might be good for some of that money might be good for a second year of watering, for example.
Right.
But we're not stealing your money yet.
Yes.
Lizzie, for completeness, where did you say those Brisbane boxes were?
On 11th Avenue by the credit union.
11th and
Jefferson.
Thank you.
Yes, and I believe they are on the west, on the northwest side of 11th Avenue.
Thank you.
Sure.
Right.
For the record, I have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes.
Okay, Elizabeth, there is one other nuance though for the other record. What trees are actually planned by the city for these places? Because there is a tree plan.
Would KYCC know this, or do I need? Still, KYCC would know. Okay.
Right. So I'm going to say for the record, so everyone hears this, the person at KYCC is Christina Basurto, Basurto, and Christina is Cristina, Basurto.
The last name again?
B as in boy, A like apple, S like Sam, U like underground, R like Robert, T like Tom, and O like oil.
Thank
and
you.
her email is C like cat, C Basurto at kyccla.org.
CBASURTO?
Yeah, C Basurto at KYCCLA. And we have a letter from her on June 6th of 2020. So this is after we redefined the project to be 25 young trees, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so we have a proposal letter that is confirmed.
You'll email that? Will you forward
Yeah,
that?
and it was in last month's packet, but I'll email it to
Oh, thank you,
Elizabeth and Dan.
And I'm turning into a pumpkin, but I just wanted to say that I'm really appreciative of everyone that's on this call. And another time, I think we would have back burner projects. I'd want to hear about projects that you have, and to grow this group and get teams so that we can, you know, get more done in our neighborhoods.
So Laura, is it okay if we decide to ask for money in a month, or is that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just the cheerleader here. I'm not even in charge of the answer, meaning yes or no. Do you get it? But you know, I'm sort of watching us not spend money, and at some point, if we don't spend money, we're just like we're gonna lose the money that's allocated. We're going to lose all the other money too, because, you know, we're supposed to be spending it. And I mean, I can tell you, I know Elizabeth wants to go away, but I can tell you right now that we still have $40,000 to spend.
It's a lot of money.
We've only spent $3,200. Well, about just under $4,000 committed, officially committed. But we've got some NPGs that aren't.
Can I ask a favor? If you're on this call and you would be willing to come back, would you put your email in the chat so we can contact you? Because I don't have a way of myself. I'd love it.
You know,
so you're saying for Anna and for Labrada.
Yeah.
So they probably they can chat.
Yeah, I'll write mine in there, Elizabeth. I'll write my email to you. I can only write it to you for some reason. So
no, because again, because this is a public meeting, there's certain rules that Dunn has put on our meeting, so we don't have chat to everyone.
Oh.
But they have chat to the hosts.
Oh, okay.
So,
thank you. Great.
That's good, because maybe she doesn't want the rest of us to see her private email.
Right, okay.
I don't mind.
So your email will only go if you can write it to Elizabeth or to Dan or to me, but not to all three of us and not to the world.
I just sent it to Elizabeth for Chris and I.
Great.
Awesome.
I'm Chris, by the way. Great to meet you guys. We're really thankful for what you guys are doing.
Thank you for the
Good.
work you're doing. We're
Okay, I just wrote it to Elizabeth. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you for thank you for all the work you've been doing. Thank you.
Anytime. Great to have
Thank you,
you.
Elizabeth.
Thanks,
bye.
Lizzie.
So nice
Bye.
talking to you.
Elizabeth,
Nice meeting you, Dan.
Wait a minute,
Bye,
is Dan leaving or trying to get his word in edgewise?
I'm trying to get a word in edgewise. Elizabeth, I'd like to talk with you for 2 minutes after the meeting. Can I call you?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
And
Mario.
Laura.
Bye, Dan.
And Laura, can we talk right now?
Lizzie.
Laura?
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll get off.
Okay.
I
Can we
can
stay on?
Lizzie, if you want to stay on the meeting, you and I can talk. Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, Laura. It's always it's invigorating and overwhelming experience every time, and I hope that we can pull this together. Are you? So, what do you think our chances of getting the money if we ask for it in a month?
No, I think we have so much money.
Okay.
Unless every committee has the same idea is what I'm trying to say. If
Okay.
everyone figures out, because like I know that Lizzie wants some more extra money for elections outreach, for example. We only have $1,000 allocated. So in that money that's not spent, we haven't yet spent election outreach money, for example, and we have not yet spent an NP neighborhood purpose grant that we just voted on, we haven't written that check. So we don't really have 40,000 left, but we still have significant amount of money left.
Okay, well, both I and Elizabeth were unable to figure out how much to ask for this time. So it's good that we can wait a little bit.
Yeah, right. And I think if at all possible, it's kind of make that loop backwards. And if you're going to, in terms of identifying the actual tree wells, make sure they don't have stumps in them, because that the stump removal is another cost.
Yeah. But
although that's the thing you could ask money for, maybe not have more than 25, but have some stump removal within the ideal spots. I don't know.
So it sounds like if we were to make a spreadsheet of locations right now, we'd want to column for whether there's a stump, because
absolutely,
although we're trying to exclude those from the current project, we might want to know about them for a future project.
Correct. And the other thing is you're only identifying the empty wells, but are there any trees that just could use a little loving care that already exist?
Right.
That's
well,
a different question, but
that is a bridge too far.
okay. All right. That's fine. Okay.
All right. I will let you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan, for everything.
Lizzie, nice to meet you.
Yes, nice meeting you too.
Okay, so Lizzie, I'm trying to figure out if I stop the recording, if it's going to screw up the existing chat. So I'm going to save the chat and then stop the recording.